So let's rank all the films I watched for the first time for the month of October 2023. Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So, greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name is Doyle, better known to as the Big D, back with another ranking. Today, I'm going to be giving you my October 2023 first time watches ranking. I watched 20 films for the first time ever, and well, it was kind of tough to pick which films would be high and which ones would be low. But I am going to show them all and then talk about them one at a time. I'm going to talk about them real quickly, but you're still going to see me though. So if you're ready, let's start the ranking. Sit back, relax, and here we go. Coming in at number 20 is Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, which came out earlier this year. I don't know what to tell you. This is the worst film of this year that I've seen. I really just wasn't impressed with the characters and what have you, but I did like the kills though and what have you, and well, how it they made it look all what yeah, well, hard to explain, but I think you understand what I'm trying to say. But anyway, yeah, worst film I've seen this year, although I did have a little bit of like for it, but not a whole lot. Check out my spoiler free review of this if you haven't seen it yet. Now, coming in at number 19 is The Pyramid from 2014. Oh boy, I don't know what to say about this film. This is probably the worst found footage film I have seen to date now. This is just terrible. I do like how what it looked like from the outside, but a little bit on the inside, not great though. I'd rather rewatch some of the Paranormal Activity spin-offs like the Ghost Mission, what have you, over this abomination. This just was not great and what have you. I might do a bit of a rant video on this sometime down the road. We'll see what happens. It wasn't that great though. The Pyramid, worst found footage film I've seen to date. And coming in at number 18 is Pet Cemetery Bloodlines. And of course, this film premiered on Paramount Plus, and well, it was okay and what have you. It did was kind of scary in some parts, but this just wasn't great at all, considering it was considered a prequel to the 2019 remake. Oh boy. Yeah, but again, it was alright and what have you. It just wasn't great though. Check out my spoiler free review of this if you haven't seen it yet. You'll know what I'm trying to tell you. Now, coming in at number 17 is The Boogeyman. This recent film, which of course was an adaptation of Stephen King's short story, it was alright and what have you. It was scary in some parts. But I just felt like it just wasn't too great and what have you. I was kind of mixed on this when I did this in a mini reviews I did last month. But I'm going to say it was fine, what have you. It just wasn't great though. Some of the cast wasn't too bad either, but that's about all I can tell you about the Boogeyman. Yep. All right, next number 16 is The Nun 2. Now, while I did say this was a step up from the first film, and yes, I was correct, I am going to say this was again much better than the first film, but just wasn't too completely scary enough and what have you. Well, did have some few frightening moments. It does have a pretty good, decent cast of performances, some from the first film and a few new ones, especially Anna Popplewell, who, of course, as I mentioned in my spoiler-free review, if you haven't seen it yet, check it out. Anna Popplewell, you may remember Susan from Chronicles of Narnia films. Yeah, she's in this. And she hasn't aged a bit, even though she's grown and what have you. But anyway, The Nun 2, I think it was better than the first one. Enough said. Coming in at number 15 is Dominion, prequel to The Exorcist from 2003. Now, this is the version of the prequel to The Exorcist we were supposed to get, but they just couldn't get in. They put out another version that was Exorcist the Beginning, which I will say that I did like this just a little more than that, but hey, you don't have to take my word for it. Exorcist the Beginning was good too, and what have you. But hey, you be the judge on whatever ones you like and what have you. I mean, Stellan Skarsgård does a great job in that film, just like he did in the prequel we actually got. And this film only had a limited run, so again, it wasn't too bad of a film and what have you. Now, coming in at number 14 is Meg 2, The Trench. Now, this recent film that just now came to Max not so long ago, I watched it on there. And I'm going to say it wasn't quite as great as the first film, but it did have, because it was just kind of weak in some parts, and it didn't get any good and well, much good until maybe last act and what have you. So anyway, that's all I want to tell you. Look for a spoiler-free review of this coming up later on this month for why I have to think about this one. And coming in at number 13 is The Pope's Exorcist. Now, this is another recent film. Russell Crowe is the Pope in this, and I'm going to say he does a pretty decent job. I am going to say, well, maybe not one of the best films I've seen him in, YB, but he does a pretty good job. Check out my review of this in the mini reviews vid I did, which of course had the Boogeyman with it, and another film which is still ahead. So anyway, yeah, kind of spine, but it is spine tingling in some parts. So, but it was fine. Why have you? The Pope's Exorcist, definitely. And next, coming in at number 12 is Strays. Now, I watched this when it came on Peacock. This film bombed at the box office, well, in my opinion. Despite it had a pretty good, decent cast of voices, including Will Ferrell and Jamie Foxx. I'm gonna say this film was odd and what have you. It was pretty funny in some parts, but there was some bits and parts I wasn't too comfortable with and what have you. Well, you can find out what I had to say about when I do a spoiler-free review of this next week. Stay tuned for that. But Strays was alright and fun in some parts and in ways. Now, coming in at number 11 is Dark Shadows from 2012. Now, while I've never actually seen the TV show and what have you, but I do know, but I know of it though. This film didn't quite do so well. I mean, considering it was directed by Tim Burton, he once again teamed with Johnny Depp on this. I am just gonna say it was fun in some parts and what have you. I don't consider it to be Burton's best film, but it has its moments and what have you. We can't be too sure if we'll get a sequel to this though, but we'll just find out. But anyway, Johnny Depp was alright in his performance as Barnabas. And that's about it. I actually found the guy who actually played him on the TV show actually made a cameo just right before he passed away, as a matter of fact. Yeah, I'll review this sometime down the road. Next, coming in at number 10 is The Gate from 1987. Now, this film was kind of dark and eerie and what have you. I mean, I think this got PG-13 rating, not an R rating. I know it had a sequel that I do know got an R rating. I haven't checked it out yet, but I have finally taken the time to see the first film. The Gate, it's pretty creepy and what have you, especially when all these creatures appear from out of the gate. Just wow. But anyway, yeah, those little demons and what have you. Yeah, creepy. Definitely. The Gate's a pretty good movie from the 80s. Now, coming in at number 9 is Ma from 2019. This one's kind of strange and what have you, but Octavia Spencer did such an incredible job on her performance as Maul. And I will tell you, it's just so crazy and what have you. But I didn't know this film was directed by the same person who worked with her on the film The Help, however. That was wow. I'm just gonna say this is just so shocking and what have you, especially with how the character turns out. I definitely need to review this one. Maybe I will do it maybe next year. We'll see. But anyway, Ma was definitely a not too bad of a flick. Now, coming in at number 8 is Five Nights at Freddy's, which has become the most viewed video on my channel this month. Well, last month. Anyway, this of course is based on the video game the same name. It came to theaters and to Peacock, and I have found that it did better than what we had anticipated at the box office. But I will say it's I'm kind of mixed on this, but I did have a little fun on watching it. It was just so well, wow, eerie with some of the animatronics on the characters and what have you. Yeah, check out my spoiler-free review of this if you haven't seen it already. Josh Hutcherson was pretty good in this as well. So, yeah, pretty good. And coming in at number 7 is All Hallows Eve from 2013. The film that kind of made way for Art the Clown before the Terrifier films, even though it did appear in some short films. Damien Leone did a pretty good job on this film. It was very scary and very eerie and pretty bloody too. Check out my review of this if you haven't seen it yet. But overall, it's pretty good. I didn't get a chance to watch the sequel though, but I will another time perhaps. Maybe I'll review it next year. But anyway, All Hallows Eve, it was pretty creepy. And coming in at number 6 is Totally Killer. Now, this is an Amazon Prime film, and I'm going to say it was pretty good. I liked how the story turned out, with it being like Back to the Future with a little bit of horror in it and what have you. That was really creepy, huh? Yeah, I that was the third film I did a main review of, along with The Pope's Exorcist and The Boogeyman. You can check it out. Anyway, the cast was pretty good, especially the main character, who I found out was the person who played Sabrina in the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina on Netflix. I'm just gonna say, Totally Killer was just incredible, and it did have a few fun moments and what have you. Okay, now for the top 5. Number 5 is Dario Argento's Mother of Tears from 2007. This is the final chapter of the Three Witches, or should I say Three Mothers trilogy, that of course started with Suspiria and then went to Inferno. Almost of this was pretty eerie and bloody and what have you, just like what you could get from any other of Argento's films. Check out my review of this if you haven't seen it yet. Azar Asia did an exceptionally good job in the film. I really liked it. It's pretty good. Now, coming in at number 4 is Killers of the Flower Moon. Now, this is Martin Scorsese's new film. I will do a spoiler-free review of this next week as well. I will just give you a heads up. Leonardo DiCaprio was very good in this. So was Robert De Niro. Rest of the cast. It had a pretty good story too as well. But again, I won't give you much details until I do a review of it. Again, expect for it next week. Enough said. And coming in at number 3 is Night of the Living Dead from 1968, the film that started all for the zombie films. George A. Romero's classic. I'm gonna say finally I got to watch it. I gotta tell you, it was pretty eerie and frightening. That jazz. I know there was a remake to this. If I happen to encounter it someday, I will look into it. Check out my review of this if you haven't seen it yet. I can see a lot of y'all have checked it out and have enjoyed it. Good. I'm just gonna say this was so good. I just never took the time to notice, but now I have. It's pretty good. And I will say that I watched the special colorized edition instead of the original black and white, so that way maybe I could see the blood a little more. Yeah, but Night of the Living Dead, it was pretty good. And coming in at number 2 is Monster High 2. Now, I loved this just a bit more than the first film. This was awesome, very good, great performances from the cast and YV, old and new ones. I'm glad it continued on after the events of the first film. It was just so incredible. I think it was just so wow. Anyway, you can find out what I thought about this in my spoiler-free review of this. But anyway, I'm just glad we got another Monster High. Now I hope for the best we get a third one. We'll just have to see what happens if it comes around next year. Definitely. The Monster High 2, great sequel. And finally, my number one first time watch of October 2023 is Dawn of the Dead from 1978. George A. Romero's original classic itself. Wow, I thought this was so incredible. I really decided to give this a shot after watching Night of the Living Dead. I'm just going to say this film's great, and I really did enjoy it for what it had to offer. Just so amazing effects and the great thing at the mall and what have you. Definitely a very good movie. Despite it's not streaming anywhere, well, hope for the best anybody can find this on physical media, which I think you can. But also, the full movie is available on YouTube. You can check it out. But anyway, we got great performances, a good sing. Well, you know the rest. Check out my review of this if you haven't already. So now you know my October 2023 first time watches are. What did you think of this ranking? Let me know in the comments section below. Tell me what did you watch in October 2023. You can give me your number one fave, your top three or top five, whatever. Just leave them for me in the comment section. If you like the video, click the like button, subscribe, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Join me next time when I bring to you the first part of my rewatches ranking, where I'll do, well, sort of a factual non-franchise ranking in ways. So, if you like this, consider checking out my reviews of the top 3 films in this ranking. The upper left hand corner is my review of Dawn of the Dead from 1978. The upper right hand corner is my spoiler free review of Monster High 2. And the bottom left hand corner is my review of Night of the Living Dead. 1968. And the bottom right hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.